All right, guys, so this is more quadratic word problems. So I'm going to go over number 4. So if you're still having some problems and some trouble with this, then you can watch this video and help you with number 4. Then hopefully this will help you with the other problems that you're going to work on, okay? All right, so on number 4, it says a football is punted into the air. Its height h in meters after t seconds is given by the following equation. How high is the ball after 1 second? Find the maximum height of the ball. When does the ball reach its maximum height in seconds? And when does the ball hit the ground in seconds? Okay? All right, so let's go through what we're trying to find for each one before we actually find this. So how high is the ball after 1 second? Again, so they're giving us a time. And remember in our equation, T stands for time. So this one's just going to be a plug and chug. For B, find the maximum height of the ball. So again, if we have a parabola, right? Remember parabolas, our maximum is going to be right here at our vertex. And we said on your vertex, you know, you have an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Your x is always your time, and your y is always your height. Okay, so that's true on any of these problems, okay? Or since we used h and t, it's the same thing. It's going to be t and h like this, and that's your time, and this is your height. Okay? All right, so B, we have to find what is the maximum height of the ball. We need to find our y coordinate of our vertex. Okay, and in part C, when does the ball reach its maximum height in seconds? So that's just going to be our x coordinate. So x coordinate of our vertex. Okay, and then part D, so it really seems that B and C, those two problems are going to kind of work together. And then we have part D, when does the ball hit the ground in seconds? So again, if here's the ground, right, I want to know how long it took to get to this. So here's point A to point B, how long was that, right? So this, we're going to solve using our quadratic formula because we're trying to find the x-intercept here. All right, so let's start with the first one. So how high is the ball after 1 second? So we're going to do some calculator work here. So all I'm doing is plugging 1 in for t into all spots. And this is actually really nice when it's only 1 because 1's our easiest number to plug in here. So 1 squared is just 1, and then 1 times negative 4.9 is just negative 4.9. 24.5 times 1 is just 24.5, and then of course we just have plus 1. So how high is the ball after 1 second? It's going to be 20.6, and again we're in meters here, so 20.6 meters. All right, for part B, so now we're finding so B and C actually kind of go together. We're trying to find the vertex. On C, we're finding the x-coordinate, and on B, we're finding the y-coordinate. So remember the vertex. Vertex is going to be your negative b over 2a, okay? Oh, that's a bad A. All right, so that gives you your x-coordinate. So this right here actually is going to be our answer for C, okay? So let me see if I can, sorry about that. I can zoom in just a little bit on that. Okay. All right, so now if we do negative b over 2a, so it's going to be negative 24.5 all over 2 times negative 4.9. Okay, so putting that on my calculator, so I have negative 24.5 divided by, notice I put everything in the denominator in parentheses. So 2 times negative 4.9. So that gives me 2.5. That's a nice decimal for us. So when does the ball reach its maximum height in seconds? It's 2.5 seconds. Okay. All right, so now to find B, we have to find the maximum height of the ball. So we're actually going to plug 2.5 back into our equation for t, because again, t is standing for time, and this is time. So I'm going to plug that back in. So I have negative 4.9 times 2.5 squared plus 24.5 times 2.5 plus 1. So again, it's just a bunch of calculator work. All right, so we've got, let's get this over so I can see it. All right, so we have negative 4.9 times 2.5 squared. I like to do it section by section, like the first section, then the next section. It's just easier for me, I think. Plus 24.5 times 2.5, and then plus 1. So what is the maximum height of the ball? It's going to be 31.625. So 31.625, and again, this is meters. Okay, which, let's think about this for a second. So we said the maximum height happens at 2.5 seconds, and it's 31.625 meters. Well, that would make sense because up here, after 1 second, right, not to the maximum quite yet. So if we think of kicking the football, right, here's 1 second. We're not quite to the top yet, and notice it's 20.6, which makes sense that at 2.5, it's even higher, right, at our highest. So that makes sense. All right, and then our last part of this is then when does the ball hit the ground in seconds? So this is when we're using our quadratic formula. So we're going to start with b squared minus 4ac. So we have 24.5 squared minus 4 times our a is negative 4.9 and our c is 1. Okay, so again, I'm going to put this on my calculator. So 24.5 squared minus, put all those 3 numbers in parentheses. All right, so 619.85. 619.85. All right, so let's plug that into quadratic formula. So we have negative b, so negative 24.5 plus minus the square root, 619.85, all over 2 times my a value, which is negative 4.9. Now remember, we're going to split this off into the plus version and the minus version. I tend to do the plus version first every single time. That's just out of habit. You don't have to though, but I think if you do the same thing over and over again, then you stay consistent. All right, so I'm going to type this all into my calculator. So negative 24.5 plus parentheses, the square root of 619.85. Hit the over key, right, to get out from under the radical, parentheses, and then divide that by 2 times negative 4.9. So this gives me negative 0.04. Well, notice that I have a negative here. Not even going to be one that I want, right? Because we can't have a negative time. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. So negative 24.5 minus, parentheses, square root, 619.85. Oop. There we go. Divided by 2 times negative 4.9. And this one gives us 5.04. Okay, so 5.04, and this is seconds. So my answer is 5.04 seconds. So it's going to take the ball 5.04 seconds for it to land on the ground after being kicked. Okay? All right, so again, part of the biggest issue with word problems is figuring out what you're trying to find. Okay? If you can remember that your x is always going to be your time and your y is going to be your height, that'll help you when trying to figure out what exactly you're trying to find. Vertex, are you trying to find the 0, the x-intercept? Are you just plugging and chugging? Like, what exactly are you trying to find? Okay? If you need more help, please make sure that you come and see me, and I'll be happy to help. Thanks, guys.